Good morning on this wonderful autumn morning, Monday morning. So this week is about divine guidance and about letting you know and keeping you aware of how you can work through problems, how you can identify, how you can move through and bring through your greatest joy and alignment that can happen for you. So this morning's session, day one, is about dark night of the soul, or as Dawn says, the dark night and the awakening. So Dawn will share with you her experiences, but I'm going to share my experiences. So my dark night of the soul, as I would call it, happened 30 years ago, and this is what got me on this spiritual path. And actually now I can reflect back with a knowing that I was divinely guided all the way through it. But anyway, briefly, I was in my late 20s and I was completely broken. And what I mean by broken is I couldn't sleep. I couldn't work. I worked in the city. I could not function properly. I had palpitations, anxiety. I was just absolutely broken. And two things happened that made me aware now, and probably at the time on some level, that I was divinely guided. I was covered. The angels were there, the guides were there. So one being, I was sent a card called Footsteps in the Sand. I don't know if many of you know that. But this was about when you're walking alone and you have two sets of footprints, and then there's only one set of footprints. So when you're left, when you're needed the most, your God or whatever source or light, when you need them the most, it is not there. You feel deathly alone. But actually, he comes back and he says, but I was there. I was carrying you. And those words, I think, carried me through many months of pain. Actually, I would just keep picking up the card. And then the other thing that happened was how I stepped into homeopathy, which actually was the beginning of releasing, identifying the traumas, and started me on that journey. So that was the beginning, and then it's been road since. But this last year with divine guidance has been the most greatest, actually, because although I've identified the deeper traumas, but it's the residues, it's the shadows that are left behind, it's the wounds that you don't realise maybe that you're functioning from. So the scarcity, the acceptance of just living as you are, and it's okay to just be surviving. But knowing divine guidance now, what she's taught is identifying our higher self and our lower self. And actually that scarcity, living like that, is the lower self, in fear, fright, just knowing that she is just surviving. And actually that's not good enough. So with her, working through her, working with our higher self, who always will bestow perspectives, and then bringing in and releasing through the various techniques, and I mean releasing back to source, and then bringing back in. These last months, I've had so much alignment and joy, which I will share later in the week, how it has affected me on this journey. But for today, this is about Dawn showing you how it is to surrender. Now, I didn't have these tools then, but I know I was guided. But having these tools now has made a massive difference. So surrendering, you know, when life brings us to our knees, those deep traumas, what we do with them, we don't keep shutting them down. We can work through them and leave them behind. The memories are there, but the trauma's not. And then the intention, it's always about intention. When we consciously open our hearts to joy, that's what we'll cover. So it is our intention to clear, our intention to work through, our intentions to connect in. So when we put that power behind things and our intentions to live in joy and to live in love, that is what we can create, and that is what we create. So this week is a marvellous week that you can catch up on replay, but please enjoy the process. See where it lands and resonates, because this is for everybody, and we all have the abilities to live our life like this. It's a way of living.